Welcome back. We are live, episode 5, Squared Circle Spotlight. If you didn't check out last week's episode, check it out. We did huge numbers on those clips last week. Thank you, first off, to everybody that watched those videos. Something like 500,000 views on those two clips. So thank you, everybody. Yes, thank you, everybody, for checking those out. A lot of likes, a lot more followers. So, and all over the world. I mean, thank you to everybody in India, Mexico, the UK, Canada, and yeah, right here in the United States. So thank you, everybody, that's been watching. If you're only watching the clips, though, check out the full show. We promise it's worth it. It's been very good. Check out the whole show. We'll try and clip up some more. Got to get you guys to see some of that, but definitely want you to check out the whole thing on YouTube, Spotify, whatever works for you. If there's somewhere else you want to see it, let us know. Maybe Apple Podcasts, we'll get it on there too. Try and do all that stuff. So thank you, everybody, for checking us out. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for following us.
We're getting
Um,
Thank you.
closer to that milestone of Jeremy coming to the house to do the delivery. We're getting close. Slowly but surely, India. We might be coming your way. New Delhi, I'm coming to you. I'm coming.
We got to book a flight for Jeremy to India to deliver Gangrel and Chris Jericho.
Ugh. I need a passport first.
Customs. What are the describe these?
They won't let me in with these registered guns.
Why do you have this sweaty mutant in your bag?
Don't ask questions you don't want answers to. Let's just leave it at that. There are only a few places that thing could have got stored, but this was the better place.
All right, that's good. We got a few things lined up for you, so we're gonna if you didn't check it out again, last week we started our botch bracket, so we got that this week. The semifinals are the funniest botch of all time. We got more merch table. We're gonna get into a little bit of debate about the tag division. We got our gimmick of the week, another beastly character. We did Furface last week. Got another beast in this one. WWE likes their beasts. And then we have a stipulation. Night of Champions is next week, so we have our stipulation, our punishment for whoever gets the most incorrect on our picks. So we'll make our picks during the week, and then Night of Champions we'll reveal, or after Night of Champions we'll reveal who lost and who's got to go through the stipulation. So start it off like we always do. We're gonna do a little bit of a warm-up question here, little icebreaker. So, what is one match you would show a non-wrestling fan who's trying to get into wrestling? And what's one match you would just never show them? There's probably a lot, but we'll kind of keep it modest here. So I'm gonna go over to looks like Jeremy's thinking, so I'm gonna go over to Charlie.
Okay. The one match I would show wrestling fans would be the first Shawn Michaels Undertaker WrestleMania match. Because at that time I was kind of really not into wrestling so much. Me and Joe, me and you have went through lulls of like really being into it, not. And that was one of the matches that got me back into it. I mean, you could just put that on, not know the storyline. Well, heck, the entrance kind of spells out the storyline for you. But it's an amazing match. It shows you everything what wrestling's about. Takes you on a story ride. There's athleticism, there's storytelling. The fans are invested the entire time. It's a great match, and I think anyone would like it.
And that was one of my favorite matches of all time. So it's a good pick. What's one match you'd never show? What we'll say instead of a match, what's one match, promo, storyline that you would just never show somebody that wanted
Okay,
to get into it?
okay.
Uh,
I'm gonna have to take you back to 94, I think maybe 95. But there's a character by the name of Bertha Faye. She was a morbidly obese woman, and she beat Alondra Blaze, and I think she might have had a love affair with Harvey Whippleman. I'm not sure, but she came down to the ring. She had like piece of cake in her hand. It was just really grotesque and disgusting. She was the female Bastion Booger, and it's an insult to wrestling. It's an insult to women's wrestling. So yeah, I would avoid anything with the names Bertha Faye attached to it.
Bertha doesn't draw a crowd usually, unless it's in the circus.
Wow.
She could have been there. And that's who
Yeah,
I
exactly.
honestly I forgot about Bertha Faye, and Harvey Wimpleman. So those might be gimmicks we have to do one day of our gimmick of the week. Bertha Faye and Harvey Wimpleman. That's good ones. Um, I'll jump in. I'll give Jeremy another minute here. Well, he's opening his window.
Yep.
So one match I would show a non-wrestling fan. So again, I don't want to say one that I already said. Like this is one of my favorite matches, but definitely would be one of them. Omega Okada, that first one again at Wrestle Kingdom. So great match. Um, and you don't even really need the background, just an amazing match. So I'd say that one, but I'll also give another one since I kind of use that for something else. I'll say Bret Hart and Bulldog at Wembley Stadium. I forget what year that is, like 90, I don't even
Oh,
know, 92.
92.
Yeah, something like that. So that was a good one. Family members wrestling in front of family. British Bulldog was in his hometown, so that was huge. And it kind of gives like that almost like UFC boxing feel. You were in an outdoor arena and the crowd was
Yep.
hyped up for that match. So that would probably be the other one if you like old school stuff. That was super good. And then one storyline match, whatever, I would never show. I mean, there's a bunch probably from the new generation and maybe the old WCW days, the last of the WCW days. But I'm gonna go something a little more modern. I'm gonna go that whole segment with and again, I don't know how familiar you guys are if you were still watching at this point, but Bobby Lashley and his sisters. Bobby
Oh,
Lashley
God.
Bobby Lashley introducing his sisters, and they're basically his whole reason for being. And God, it was corny. It was terrible,
It
and
was
I feel
weird too. It was weird.
really weird. Yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah. Some like
Yeah.
maybe some in Alabama. No, I won't say Alabama. We would have fans in Alabama. Incestual vibes. Really weird.
Yeah,
And Bobby
Vince wrote
Lashley's
that. You
a
know Vince wrote that.
oh, for sure. He wanted to write Stephanie into a storyline like that. So definitely.
He's a
Um,
dark individual.
who, Bobby Lashley or Vince?
All the
Um,
above, maybe.
Come on.
but Bobby Lashley is an amazing athlete, amazing wrestler, and that's the crap he got stuck with. No wonder why he's in AEW. But yeah, so I'd probably say that one. That was pretty terrible and weird. Um, Jeremy, I'm gonna give it over to you.
So I keep coming back to one of the matches I refer to on this show apparently quite a lot out of the five times that we've had these. I think I've mentioned it once each time, but the TLC match. If you want to just see some crazy stuff happening, people flying, like cables breaking, all that, like the TLC match, the first one was iconic to watch. Like, how could you not get into wrestling after seeing something of that magnitude happen?
And again, for
And
anybody that didn't hear the old episodes, we're talking about the TLC between Hardy's, Dudley's, and Edge and Christian.
yes, well, wouldn't that be the original iconic one?
Some people might have other iconic ones. You don't know.
That's true. And as far as bad ones, I guess for to get them into wrestling and a plot line, I definitely want to say that Mark Henry, what was it, Moolah or was it May
Mae Young.
May
or
Young.
Mae
May Young? Oh, that was.
Young.
Uh, if you didn't understand what was going on and already were into wrestling, you would never get into wrestling watching that. I'll tell you that much. Unless you
Yeah,
had
well,
context
how do
already.
you explain that? How do you explain that a young African American man and a
Who is the strongest
geriatric,
man in the world, mind
right,
you?
90-year-old woman have birth and it's a plastic hand? And Vince thinks this is the funniest thing in the world. Pritchard told the story, and Vince was like slapping his knees, like, "That's hysterical. It's just a hand."
Oh,
Like,
I love it. Book
I
it.
mean, yeah,
And
this is what we're dealing with. But somehow we stay, we were hooked.
it's 25 years later, and I still don't understand it.
And no one ever will or want to.
That's a very good example of what you don't want to show somebody who gets into it. If you showed
No,
me
not
that
at
first,
all.
No,
I'm turning away immediately.
Yeah.
I'm not
All
only
right.
turning you away,
I'm
I'm turning
looking
you
at the
out of my
person.
life. I don't,
I'm
I don't
looking
want
at
you
the
in my life.
person showing me this and ready to hit
Right,
them.
right.
All right, that was our warm-up question. It was a good one. Gonna move into now our botch bracket. We're in the semifinals. So again, if you guys didn't see last week, we started it with the intro round. We had 8 of the funniest botches of all time that we picked. So, no official list anywhere. We created this, and we've narrowed it down to our final 4. So this one's gonna be tough. I know for myself, this is a tough one. I know we said this already last week, so we're gonna start it off. This is a big one. So we're going Shockmaster. Again, if you guys never saw it, it's the debut of Shockmaster where he fell through a wall and his Star Wars helmet fell off, essentially ending the character on sight. And then Vince tearing his quads at the Royal Rumble, running into the ring and immediately sitting down because he can't stand up and doing the rest of his I guess promo there on his butt, sitting there yeah, without it being able to get up. So one of the funnier moments I could ever remember, probably in anything, not even just wrestling, just a hilarious moment in general. So that's who we're going with first, and we will winner of that will move on to our finals. So I'll open it up to you guys first. Let's go in and we'll change the order each time so everybody's vote counts. I'll go Charlie. You'll start with this one. What's your vote?
Um, Hands down, Vince blowing out his quads. That is my that's the pick for that choice. Vince blowing out his quads. I'm sorry. Other things are funny, but that's I I can put that on any day, any mood I'm in, any situation, and I can laugh and I can have a good time. Because his look on his face of no selling it at one of the big four pay-per-views, it just he's in so much pain, and and everyone, it's hilarity. It's hilarity. And watch the previous episode to hear a good story on it, why it has special meaning to me. But that wins in my bracket.
All right. I'm gonna go over to you, Jeremy. What you got?
I don't disagree there with Charlie. Like, I remember being at his house watching that, bring back good memories, but it's just, I got to see that at a point in my life where I could understand what happened, where the Shockmaster, I would have been a little kid. So maybe there's that sentimental value to it. The fact that I was that perfect age to really appreciate that. But
It
I
was
was
so
thinking we
funny.
could
It broke
possibly
up a
debate
fight.
on why amongst us all as a panel, trying to persuade one another. But I don't know if I could do that with that one. That one was just
Jeremy,
too
Jeremy,
funny.
Jeremy, if
Everything
I may
leading up
interrupt
to
for a
it.
second.
No, you may
Can I
not, but
interrupt for
go
a
for
second?
it.
Thank you. You were about to get, and again, this is dipping back. Everyone go back and watch the old episodes. You were about to get in a fight. R.I.P. Matt Snake. These guys were going at it. And when he blew those quads, instinctually, you both knew that was funnier than anything that was possibly going on and just started laughing.
We knew immediately,
It's
like,
one of
oh,
those,
this is off script now.
yeah, this is off script. It's one of those moments that transcends wrestling. It's just hysterical. Watch it.
The biggest improv
Watch.
ever.
Mhm.
All right. So Vince tearing his quads is gonna move on. My vote won't count here. I again vote I we're going clean sweep on this. I think it's been a clean sweep for Vince, both
So your
rounds right
vote
now. So
counts. Come on now.
doesn't matter. You guys voted first and already moved on. So Vince tearing his quads, yeah, I same thing. Shockmaster was iconic and still, huge moment. But yeah, Vince tearing his quads is still one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So that's moving along. Shockmaster, I think if it went up against something else, maybe it moves. But Vince will move on to our finals. So check out next week and see if Vince takes the win. But we got who he will be going up against next week. So we have the infamous Booker T N-word promo. So again, if you didn't see it or you didn't see last week's episode, Booker T's cutting a promo on Hulk Hogan and drops a little N-bomb in there and immediately regrets it and realizes what he did. The funniest part, there you go. Charlie demonstrating is Booker T's reaction and Sherry behind them kind of consoling and laughing. So, yeah, there's that one. Another classic. And then we have the AEW, the infamous AEW barbed wire death match explosion. So the ring's supposed to essentially the barbed wire is supposed to blow up around the ring after the match. And yeah, somebody in pyrotechnics, tried to save a little money, and we had some little fizzlers going off in the corner. A little bit of smoke comes up, and Eddie Kingston protecting John Moxley essentially from nothing. And again, Excalibur just selling it like it's terrible, but what else are you gonna do? So yeah, really, really bad. So yeah, Booker T versus the AEW Explosion. I will go, Jeremy. You'll go first on this one.
Uh, I can make this easy. but the easiest way to say it is I know one without having to Google it, no matter if I'm a wrestling fan or not. That promo that got botched, everybody knows of it, even if they've never watched a day of wrestling in their life.
It is famous. It is famous. I'll give it that much.
It's the most out of context wrestling promo where it's like, oh, we know that's not allowed. So, yeah, that just everything in that moment really did it for me, though. Like seeing it in person, then watching the video over again, and then seeing her trying to console him knowing he screwed up. It was the perfect calamity just to watch live.
I like that word, calamity. It's a good use of the word. All right, I'll jump in. So we got one vote for Booker T promo. I am going to go the opposite. I'm going to go AEW Explosion. I think between this and Vince, these were my two favorites in the whole thing. So that AEW Explosion just historically bad, really corny, and the funniest part is them trying to sell it instead of saying like, "Yeah, we screwed up." They just tried to sell it like a terrible explosion, and Eddie Kingston tried to sell it like he's saving Moxley. So that was pretty bad, pretty hilarious in the moment, and still pretty funny to me. So I am going AEW Explosion for this one. So Charlie, you're the tiebreaker on
Oh, am I the tiebreaker? Okay.
it.
A lot of pressure. All right, a lot of pressure. I'm gonna have to go this way. Okay. One of them kind of took away from the company. The other one, I think, added to the company because it was just really funny and not in like a, oh man, that sucks kind of way. And then, but the other one, I mean, Excalibur, the selling of it, he wouldn't quit. He wouldn't be like, oh no, something went wrong. He sold it. So that's funny. That's funny. So then I just had to think about it, and then I remembered our fans, our fans like something. They like Stevie Ray. So anything, even in the background, I'm going with Stevie Ray. I'm going with Booker T. Hulk Hogan. We're coming for
Oh.
you, Nick. Oh, and the, the Sherry with the console. Yeah, give me that one. Put that in the finals.
All right. Wow. Harlem Heat, Booker T. Yeah, that's a good point. Fans love Stevie Ray. You got to move him. So
Hey,
we got
dun, dun, dun.
yeah, they love him. Booker T's moving to the finals, so the Booker T N-word promo will go up against Vince tearing his
I got a
quads.
question.
Go for
Oh,
it.
What match is going on in the background there, Charlie?
Oh,
oh,
we'll talk about that in a
over
minute.
here. That's Earthquake, Bulldog, Billy Graham, and Ultimate Warrior.
It's quite the
The
cage
fence
match.
climbing match. I
They're fighting to be named one
would
of
have taken
Vince's
them when
next
I was
Dildos.
young.
All right, so next week will be the finals. Again, Vince tears his quads versus Booker T. So it's gonna be a good one. It's a big matchup.
Rewatch everyone in out there in YouTube or Spotify land, whatever. Rewatch both of them. I'm going to rewatch. Joe's going to rewatch. Jeremy's going to rewatch. Let's get a fresh view, a fresh take. But I think we might have a winner.
I have another question too. My only caveat with Adam or cage matches is how slow they would climb up those things. Like, dude, I know how fast I can climb anything. You're an athlete. You can climb those faster. Why did we always have to sell it like that?
And worst segue of the week goes to Jeremy. Or you might go
I'm glad you jumped in and said it because I was gonna say something. Charlie jumped in first. I don't remember the Booker T promo or the Vince McMahon promo happening in his steel cage, but apparently it must have. Jeremy had a long day. It's all right.
Hey, Joe, you know what I hate? Battle Royals.
Jeremy's random quote
Thanks,
of the week.
Jeremy.
We got to start that list.
Oh no. I was just
Uh,
thinking about cage matches when that was going on in the background.
You saw
Give
the
me a
blue
break.
cage in the bag, and it triggered your brain.
Yes, I have ADD. We know this.
he couldn't think of anything else at that point. It was locked in.
Yep. I wasn't even listening to you guys. I was just focusing on the cage match.
All right, we're getting off track here. All right. That was our botch bracket. Finals are coming up next week. Next, we're going to move into our merch table. Charlie's already showed us some old merch, so he's got some new ones for this week.
Yeah, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. I know we've been going retro, but I wanted to change it up, and I wanted to show that this is not just purely a WWE show, although it does tend to skew that way. But we do recognize good wrestling, and we recognize AEW, New Japan, AAA, all stuff like that. So I will be showcasing some AEW guys. Uh, there's been areas where I've been really into wrestling, and then there's been chunks of time where I've not been into wrestling, and I wouldn't have had a chance to collect some of these action figures if AEW was not around. Um, and the first one of them is Sting. I actually didn't have a Sting.
Pretty
Uh,
cool thing.
yeah, I thought it was pretty dope. This was and I know one of the things we all got to see Sting wrestle at AEW, Full Gear 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's one of the wrestlers you want to say that you saw wrestle. And I'll
Yes.
always thank AEW for giving us that chance to see him. Same thing with that. I never had a Samoa Joe. I wasn't a big TNA fan, and I wasn't really into NXT at the point where I was collecting items. But and they make a good. There's a lot of articulation. They always come with replaceable heads. Do the move real good. The moves they with. And then I like this Forged in Combat, uh, Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley. I think that's a really
Nice.
cool figure from AEW again. And just I want to show a little love to AEW. You know, we
Did,
recognize you.
did that one
We
come with a
recognize
vault
I
you.
like the
with?
quality of theirs better, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you? I mean, look at here. Here we go. Here's a wrestler you know, Cesaro. Remember Cesaro from WWE?
Yep.
Here's Claudio Castronoli. Isn't that a good figure?
Yeah, it is.
Good one.
Right? Good figure. And then last but not least, I know he's in WWE now, but this is when he was in AEW. It's a 1 in 5,000 limited run CM Punk copy.
Signed.
Gotta get nice.
So we get to a certain milestone, we will be sending this off. Jeremy will deliver it to you with Sweet Sapphire. Just keep those views up, baby.
If you're in Mexico City and New Delhi, wherever you're at, he's coming. Jeremy's taking a flight.
Doesn't matter. We're worldwide.
I will go back to your figures and say, yeah, I didn't have most of any of those guys' figures on. I did have a Sting though. I wish I still had it. It
I
was
do.
like the LJN style Sting. It was like, a smaller one, but it was that
Uh,
rubber and he was just posed like this, frozen. It was the surfer
I remember
Sting with
that
the
one.
yeah, he had like the blue pants and the pink and blue face paint with the blonde hair. I had that one. This thing is a very big step up. And I know we each kind of
yeah.
mention our favorites
Well,
each
I mean,
week.
let's just say what we were comparing it to. Here again is a Big Show sweat.
Oh, you
And
pulled that
then
out too early. That's got to be get its own episode. That is terrible. You know what he looks like?
oh, we're doing a
That
sweat
looks like
episode.
something
Don't
Tim
worry.
Burton would have drew up.
It looks like, do you remember that movie Mask in the 90s with that kid with the messed up face and it was Cher in the movie? He kind of looks like the guy from that.
He does. The Mongoloid.
A
Terrible. I
Mongol.
don't want him anymore. Ew.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's
Good
pretty bad. That needs its own
Lord.
episode. Stevie Ray appears again.
He's
Guys, if
just
all
gonna
you
start
Uh,
want is
dropping
Stevie
out of
Ray, that's
nowhere.
what we'll give you. You gotta let us know.
I know we talk about our favorites of those each week, and I will say I'll give my vote on my favorite. I think the Moxley one was probably the coolest. Came with the jacket. I guess it came with that belt too. That's pretty cool.
Yes. Yes, it did.
And then the Sting. This thing was awesome too. But yeah, the AEW figure is really good. I can't afford them.
Yeah.
Hope my son doesn't get into AEW because those figures are like 25 bucks a pop for the basic ones. So yeah, pretty expensive. Not like when we were kids. So
I
yeah,
know.
but they're really good. Really good.
They are
Marketplace.
good.
Yeah. Cool.
You'll find them.
All right. Thank you for this week's merch table, and we're moving on to our deep dive. So this week we're talking about the tag division, a little bit topical. FTR recently had a tweet on this exact subject about kind of tag teams not main eventing. If you haven't seen that, go check Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now. They had a post out there responding to something. So a little bit topical, perfect timing. So we're going to talk about what killed the tag division, and do you ever think it will main event again? So we'll start it
I
off
have my
there.
opinions.
And
Go
you're going to
ahead,
talk about the
Jeremy.
TLC match. I know that. So go ahead.
What now? What was the beginning of the question? Just so I hear it again.
What killed the tag division? And do you
Oh,
think it'll
what
ever
killed?
main event again?
Well, what killed it for me is I think that it's the company trying to find their next big face, big momentum from it, and they pull from successful tag teams when to try and make them see if they can thrive on their own, and then try and book that. And then they lose the fact that they could be thriving more in that tag team as a duo. Like Devon and Bubba Ray, they thrive together. They were not good wrestlers separate. They did matches by themselves,
Well, Bully Ray,
what
Bully Ray.
you but you wanted to see them together. There were it's like
Right,
the Usos. You
right.
want to see them together again, truthfully.
Mhm.
That was something that you like, that's their gimmick. That's something that you're always going to remember them for more than anything, for me at least, is them as a
Men's and
tag
men's
team.
on the men's and men's on the USO. But I agree with you that they are, and especially I'm talking about WWE. Um, they are too quick to break up tag teams, and I don't think fans have enough time to emotionally get invested in a team because what happens? We have the Rockers, you get Shawn Michaels, you get Marty Jannetty, they have one star, they want to push. You get Brett, you get Jimmy Anvil Neidhart, they have one star, they want to push. They see him, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy to a lesser extent, Jeff, they want to push. Edge and Christian, Edge, they want to push. So they're gonna break them up. So you can't really get so invested and emotional into a tag team that you know is gonna get broken up. So it's hard for the fans to get involved in that. Also, I think the tag team belts are seen as a secondary belt. Let them main event some Raws. Let them main event a pay per view. You know, not with the not. And I hate when they do this when they have like the world title and the IC title team up together to go against the tag team. No, no. Let just two tag teams main event a match. I mean, a card or pay per view. Tag team storytelling is the best. I mean, you got four guys. You sell more action. It's better. But for some of the
More
reasons I
merch.
laid out there, yeah. Well, I think yeah, it's hard, but it's also harder with merch because merch, as we talked about last week, it's a huge when Joe had the John Cena question. It's a huge indicator of if we're gonna go with this guy if we're not. And when it's selling merch as a tag team, you don't necessarily know who's the guy that's selling it, except Harlem Heat and everything with Stevie Ray. But besides that, that is a factor, as inconsequential as it may seem. But I think the tag team division needs to be strong. I think it is it's
I need some deep storylines with some people.
it's a breeding ground. It's a breeding ground for talent, and it does. The cream always rises to the top. So the fans will naturally select who they want to see. But as to Jeremy's point, don't be so quick to break them up like the Dudleys. I agree with you. They didn't need to be broken up. And what did they do? 3 months later, they put them back together. So it's like when you have a tag team like LOD, Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, they didn't deserve. They're a team. Hawk and Animal
Edge
by
and
themselves,
Christian.
well, a little bit different, but Hawk and Animal by themselves don't sell. But the Road Warriors sell out arenas all over the world. Okay,
LOD.
I'm going.
Joe,
I'm,
Mazel tov.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna ask a question before I start going on my rant here. Um, do you think in those teams? So you talk about they pick one guy to push or whatever. Yeah. So do you think in these teams though there is some maybe animosity, a little selfishness in these teams where that one guy is really getting over? So I'll give you an example. Like I'll talk a little more modern, and maybe that this isn't definitely isn't happening with them, but you talk about like the Street Profits nowadays. You have Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, and everybody wants Montez Ford to be
Right,
a solo and go solo and all that. And for his
right.
sake, he's stuck with the team. It's been good for them and whatever. But you can clearly see who the star is, and that
Right.
person deserves that push. So do you think behind the scenes, this guy wants a push? I'm not saying him specifically, I'm saying in general. That guy wants a push. They want to go solo. They want to get that main event money,
Yeah.
that main event stardom. So do you think it's a little more than just booking, not booking tag
Yeah,
teams? Or do you think it's more that one guy really wants to be a star on his own?
I think that has something to do with it. I will give you two examples. Bret Hart's book, which is I think it's probably the best wrestling book biography that I've ever read, and Shawn Michaels' book. And they both talk about Marty Jannetty was really hesitant to break them up, and Shawn Michaels just had to say to him, "Hey, we're both good wrestlers. Let's see where it goes." And Jim Neihart really kind of knew it was like the end of the line if he broke up with Bret, but Bret was ready to go, and it did cause some friction and their family members. So yeah, I think it does have some real life friction because they do pick out a star. The office picks out a star, the fans pick out a star, and unless you're going to decide to keep them together, I think that's always going to be a problem. It's going to be one wants to go and one wants to stay. I mean,
And I'm
Jeremy brought up the Usos, right? And he said that's a tag team that should stay together. Joe, I don't know if you agree with that. I think splitting them up, I think Jey Uso as Rose and Big Jim.
Yeah, but look what it did to the tag team division a little bit. Like that really put a big hole in there.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second because that's one of my things I want to bring up. But what I will say, and I'm glad you said the name because I'm blaming it all on him, Marty Jannetty. If Marty Jannetty wasn't as poor of a star as he was, that would have never happened. That started the dissension of tag teams. So Marty Jannetty was a bum, and Shawn Michaels kicked him through a window, and that started off the trend of tag teams. Turning on each other. Not even just, yeah, when do you ever see a tag team amicably break up? That never happens. They
Right.
always it always ends with bad blood, and I blame it on
People
Marty.
say, who's the Marty Jannetty of the team?
Exactly. Marty Jannetty, and
Right.
we still say that today. Who's the Marty Jannetty? And again, if I think that was the singularity event that created the Big Bang of tag teams
I think
breaking up.
you might be you might be right. You might be right.
And it was one of the biggest moments in WWE history too, him going through the barbershop window. So I would say that probably started that all off. But you're right, like Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. I think Neidhart had a little bit of a career after that. He kind of did his own thing for a little bit, but obviously not to Bret Hart's level. So like that kind of starts it off. And the other thing that I hate, I'm just gonna go on a rant here, a little different about tag teams and what they do, especially a lot now, is like tag teams come out, they just kind of pair two random guys together and make them a team. That's not even the problem. You can make people into teams. Is when they come out in like non-matching gear. I hate it. If you're a team, I love teams that come out with like matching gear.
Dude,
Unless
yes.
it's a
I'm
spur of a
sorry.
moment tag team, yes, I agree.
No, I'm sorry. Even if it's spur, okay, maybe for a week, but then the next week have matching gear. Look
Yeah.
professional. They look
Yeah.
like bums. They look
No,
like
you're a single wrestler, you're feuding against a tag team, and then somebody steps up to tag with you. That I don't care about. I actually
right.
If
prefer
But
you
we're
not
talking
match
about
it because that's
tag
weird.
teams.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
If you're together for
if you're
one match they're together, that's fine. But if you're going to be a tag team moving forward, you need that matching gear, matching entrance, have that all planned out. I hate when they
absolutely,
don't do it. Hate
absolutely,
it.
You can hey, you can
Um,
do it in the video
100%.
game and make it great.
That's true. Yeah, you could probably do it better. So yeah, like that really annoys me. It works sometimes. I mean, you had like the Rock and Sock connection with Mankind and McFoley because you were kind of playing off the like how different they were, and they
Two
kind of still
alphas
didn't.
though.
Well, they didn't like each other. No, Rock was the alpha.
No, but it's like two alpha personas.
Oh,
Like
yeah, in the other tag teams,
mankind.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But like that one is kind of it was funny, so it worked. But yeah, have the same gear, look like a team. I mean, if you look back again historically, when we were growing up, or we're super young, but like Demolition, you said it, Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, they stuck together as teams for the most part until they were like kind of forced to break up. Hawk went on a singles run where he was like an alcoholic or something and fell off the top of the Titantron. So
Oh, he almost died.
yeah, yeah.
Draws.
So and
But
then Draws joined the
Young
whole team.
Bucks,
Yeah,
what do
there you
they have in
go.
common, Joe?
Matching gear.
Right? Matching gear. Let them know you're a team.
The
Yeah,
New Age
exactly.
Outlaws was another great one that worked together for the longest time.
Yeah. Didn't have matching gear. That's a valid point. They were a good
You
team.
got to go
Would
the
have liked it
one
better.
tag team that didn't have matching gear, really?
I was just pointing out that it was relevant.
They were good. They were good. I'll give them that. I'll give them a pass too. Like you had a couple. But even that. So again, the other thing with the tag division is just not that deep. Like if you watch now, if you look in the Attitude Era, you had a few big tag teams like Jeremy's mentioned, the Hardy Boys, Eddie Christian, Dudley's. And then you kind of had like Los Boricuas battling what was that biker gang that
It's
they
got Scotty Too
Oh,
Hottie and
DOA.
Grandmaster Sexy at
DOA.
that point.
yeah, DOA and Boricuas feuding every week. Yeah, you had Too Sweet and yeah, that was their Too Sweet, right? Was that their tag name?
Yeah.
Um
And Grandmaster sexy, not sexy. Even though it
yeah.
says sexy, it's sexy.
But yeah,
Okay.
it just wasn't that deep and it's not that deep now. Like you look at
No.
who's the tag champs on Raw now? New Day. They're always tag champs. They're a heel team now and who are they feuding with? Just the War Raiders and that's pretty much it. There's not a lot
That's
going on. They
pretty much
don't
it.
yeah, yeah. So you don't have a lot of tag teams anymore and I think it's a th I think the other part of the question, and I'll kind of dive into that now too, is do you think it'll ever get to the main event again? And I say no. I think tag wrestling now is a singles sport. You get in a tag team to kind of get in the business, and you kind of get off and do your own thing. You get on that way, and
A
that's it. And I
tag
think,
is a situationship.
yeah, exactly. It absolutely is. You're there just to kind of get in the show, and then you kind of do your own
Get
thing,
your
you
foot
know?
in the door.
Yeah, because even the tag teams we have now, like I said, New Day's a little different. The Usos even split up. Usos have like the most tag titles wins of all time, and they split up.
Look,
So like the teams you have
look
now are
what they
just
did to look what they did to the Lucha Brothers when they came in WWE.
yeah,
You know?
split them
I
both
think
up
right
immediately.
here, hey, we'll give you a little extra merch table for the week. I think this is the last best pure tag team that we're gonna see. FTR right here.
Yeah,
Boom, 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 boom. Because what happens? WWE takes over and they get Penta and they get Phoenix and they make them
and
single stars. And maybe they'll reunite for a pay-per-view. But hey, why sell merch for a team when you can sell merch for 2 stars and make twice the amount of money? And that's
yeah.
what it is. It's a business.
And I will say, because I'm glad you
So I'm
brought
with
that
you,
up too,
Joe.
AEW. AEW, I think, did do the tag division a lot better than WWE
Yes,
is doing it.
absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
you got some cool teams in there, but I think they're still kind of fumbling it. So you have like we've talked about this team a lot, and I still like them, the Outrunners. They're phenomenal,
It,
hilarious. Love that. I mean, they're not on TV much anymore. They're on there kind of more on Ring of Honor. I think they're doing more on there, but them and then you even had the Acclaimed, like huge. We went when the Acclaimed was huge, and they were doing the Scissor Me Daddy with Billy Gunn,
yes, sir.
and they were massive. They were probably selling the most shirts in AEW at that time. And then they inexplicably broke them up. And Max Caster and Anthony
For
Bowens
no
are both kind
reason.
of doing their own thing, but not really. Neither one of them are really doing anything big. So
Joe, how
like,
about
Not
Enzo and
thriving.
Cass? How about Enzo and Cass? Why
yeah,
would you
that's
break
another
them
one.
up? How much merch did they sell?
Miz and
Uh,
Mizdow.
Enzo was the reason you were telling me about him, and that's the reason I started to watch NXT.
Yeah,
And like they came over to the roster, they got over the first night, and then let's break them up. Why?
yeah. And yeah, Enzo, shout out to the Jersey boy, still one of my favorites. Uh, but yeah, that was a perfect example. I owned two Enzo and Cass shirts, and this was within probably a 6 month period that they sold them, and I bought both of them, and that's a perfect example. Like they were so over, I bought two of their shirts in a year, because they were a cool tag team, and then you split them
And,
up. I mean,
and
I don't know who they sold.
how many Colin Cassidy shirts or Big Cass shirts have you bought?
Yeah, right. And
We
that was
got
the thing. I don't know
zero.
who they saw as a star because they were pushing Big Cass in that main event to like he was in that fatal four-way for to get a title match. He was in there
Yeah,
right after they split up, and then Enzo kind of did his own thing, but it was in like the cruiserweight division. So like, what was the point? It really went nowhere.
no
But
point.
yeah, no real depth, I think, is the other big thing. Um, AEW, like I said, is probably a little better, but WWE is there's not a lot of depth there, and there are some good teams, which kind of sucks. Like even you had Austin Theory and Grayson Waller now, who have been a tag team and fake broken up. I think they made a really good team, no matching gear, so that hurt them. But there's a lot of good teams out there still that you could put out there and get good shows, but it's just doesn't get it. They want the one big guy, and that's it.
I agree.
It's a single man's way to thrive. That's the only way that they do it.
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't even think on WrestleMania there was a tag team title match. Oh yeah, New Day and War Raiders. That was it. SmackDown didn't get one. They got a SmackDown match. So
Yeah, I didn't even I knew I thought the War Raiders were the champions, honestly. I like it's so non-relevant to me right now. It's sad.
yeah. And the other part too is I don't want to go too long on this, but the tag team division, like they put on some of the best matches. Like if you watch, there's some really,
Right.
really good tag matches.
There's
Like
a
War
lot of
Raiders
work in
can
there.
Yeah, War Raiders can go. Like if you watch them in Ring of Honor when they were War Machine and when they were in NXT, they could go. But now they're kind of just face the New Day every other week, and who cares? Like,
The
yeah.
Hey, listen, the last live event we went to, all of us, I remember waiting at the train station, said what was the best match of the night? Hands down, it was the Young Bucks versus
Oh
Lucha
yeah,
Brothers.
no. Oh,
And
absolutely.
they wind up turning
Yeah,
that into a best of seven.
yeah. You put the two of
Yeah,
Was
them in
that the,
any
hands
match,
down.
it's match of the night. Yeah.
was that the
Uh,
same event that we were all crushed up like this because everybody in our row was big as shit?
yeah,
That is true. That is what happened. Um, Yeah, so I think we kind of all in agreement here. Tag division doesn't look like it has a bright future. If you guys think otherwise, let us know in the
let us
chat,
know.
let us know in the comments, message us. But yeah, doesn't seem good for the tag division. Hoping for the best. We'll see what happens. All right, we're gonna move to something a little more fun, maybe not so somber. We're gonna go into our gimmick of the week. This is another good one. Hey, Charlie, I hand it over to you.
Oh, gimmick of the week. All right, yeah, because that tag team. I mean, we got a little bit serious there. This is supposed to be a fun, conversation. Have a little fun. So let's go to our gimmick of the week, and I like to present to you something that is pretty amazing if you think about it on paper. Half man, half cow, Mantaur.
Great idea.
Derived from the Greek, the Minotaur. Oh, WCW actually had a character named Minotaur. They tried this before it didn't work. But in 1995, WWF started with Mantaur. Everyone, I'm sure you've seen it. If you're not, please Google it. The man came out with a head of a cow or a bull with these horns. He was managed by Jim Cornette. Uh, he actually got an IC title shot. He got an IC title shot. Mantaur did.
I didn't even know
He
that.
lost. Yeah,
Did he
he
wrestle Man
lost by
Bear Pig?
disqualification. No, he lost by disqualification by Jeff Jarrett, but um, and he was in a King of the Ring qualifying match. He lost to Bob Holly, so he was treated as the jobber he was. But I mean, think about it. You don't green light something, right? You don't make the costume. You don't do the promos, the vignettes. To give him Jimmy Cornette as a manager, unless you think it's gonna get over. Did it not take everyone to realize, like, as soon as he walked, this guy's a joke? This is terrible. I mean, come on. I was like 9,
So if you
I do
watch,
remember
and I was
this.
laughing at it.
I watched
That
Mantor's
terrible
debut match,
singlet.
researching this, and if they pan to the crowd, and you literally see kids laughing, and then parents just confused at what they're seeing in his debut match. So it was not a good sign when he first started. But even that, like he wasn't bad in the ring, at least what I've seen. Like I saw him as a kid, and I didn't really think anything of him. But watching him now, it's like it wasn't bad. He got an overhead belly to belly suplex he pulled off. He was a big guy, kind of looked like Keith Lee in
Yeah.
his debut match. Um, But yeah, he was. It's another weird. There's just a weird obsession with these.
But no, wait, here's the weird thing, right? He would hit a cool belly to belly and like he's a like 350, 400 pounder,
Yeah,
but then he would like shovel his hooves and charge at people and moo. So,
yeah, yeah.
so it's like let's make him a legit wrestler, but now moo at the guy. Moo at him.
And he after every
With a
move, he did this. He did this thing. The wah, wah. Every move. It's
Oh
terrible.
God.
But the thing is, like
God, I
he
do
came out in
remember that.
he came out in this big stupid bison mask. But like, there's a way you could have still got. I think you could have still gotten it over. Vader used to come out in some like big, and it was way cooler, but like big
yeah, that
elephant
black
monster
that showed
thing. I don't know.
smoke.
Yeah, like you could have done something more
It
like
was
that. Not a
cool.
person, not a person who's actually like actually half bison. His upper half is half bison.
Right. And did they not try? Because like Jim Cornette was talking about it, he was like, he tried to get under the ropes, he couldn't get under the rope. Did you not rehearse it? Like, did you not think about it?
And then
Why?
it gets
My
weirder too because
goodness.
he ditched that at a certain point, and then he just shaved his hair into ram horns and had like black paint around his eyes that went into the ram horns and was actually shaved into his head like that. So he walked around with stupid ram horns shaved in his head all the time.
Poor guy. That poor guy. And
And I have
you know, funny enough, his last match was with a guy with tattooed flames on his head, Bam Bam Bigelow in the WWF, whatever. But that was his last match. That was his last hurrah that I got. But
well,
our
he did
yeah.
have one more gimmick in WWE. I want to see if you know this one. If you got this one in your research, I didn't know this
Oh,
either.
no, you got
It
me. You
wasn't
got me.
he wasn't televised. He did two matches with a certain faction, and we'll have to cover this faction for sure at a certain point. And I'll give you a little hint.
A
They
certain
were a
action.
kind of a paramilitary group with a guy. What did it?
Oh, was
He
the
went by the
jackal in
name
it?
the Jackal. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I
The
got you.
Truth Commission. So he was
Yep.
briefly in the Truth Commission as Tank. So he came out. He actually didn't even see his face. He wore like a mask. But he was with Kurgan. Who else was in there? Bull Buchanan and some other guy named
Yeah,
Sniper.
Paul
yeah,
Buchanan. Oh
sniper.
my God.
So he did make
Oh
a
my God,
brief
I didn't know
appearance.
that.
Yeah, I didn't either until I
So
did my research.
he went to a Greek mythological character to a guy in a South African apartheid
There
military state.
you go.
That's the biggest 180 you could ever do.
Yep, that was him. He did two matches from what I
Oh.
learned. With the Truth Commission as the name Tank. So that was it. And then he was gone.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then he also was originally discussed to be in that gimmick battle royal we talked about before that the Repo Man was in. He got discussed as being in it and then got cut. They didn't put him in it, sadly, so he didn't get his big moment of glory there. But he did continue wrestling. I learned he was in ECW, I think before it was Extreme Championship Wrestling. It was like Eastern Championship Wrestling, so he was there for a little bit. So he bounced around doing some wrestling stuff afterward too. But yeah, his last WWE non-TV appearance was Truth Commission. So weird.
Oh man, I gotta go find that. I have to find that.
You can't find a lot. I found a picture at best. There's no video, but there's actually a picture of him in it. And he has like a black ski mask with that little red beret. It's weird. Anyway, why he's in there, I don't
That's
know.
crazy. That's crazy. What a weird
Yeah.
group. What a weird group. We can go into that in a deep dive because
But
I read about the it's very it's if you thought WWE might be a little bit racist, I can open up some
well,
doors for you.
then you had Kurgan who went from the Truth Commission to the Oddities, so that's another big 180.
Yeah. Let's call him the insane clown boss. Giant Silva.
Oh God, that was terrible too. I don't want to go too deep into these because then we won't be able to cover them another time. But these are two that we'll have to cover for sure. The Oddities and the Truth Commission.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, that was our gimmick of the week. Hope you guys have enjoyed the theme of half human, half animal characters. We had Fur Face last week, which not many people know about, and Mantaur, who didn't have a big run either. So yeah,
You sure we're
beast
not the
animals.
WWF?
We're booking them every week, so All right. We are now going to move into our stipulation. So we have Night of Champions next week on Saturday. I think it's on at like 1 o'clock our time. So it'll be a daytime thing. But not all the card is decided yet. We have King of the Ring final or semifinals going on right now. We're filming during Raw, sadly. So um, we'll see what the final card ends up being. We'll make our picks during the week. We'll post those on our Instagram if you want to see them beforehand. And then next week we'll kind of review and we will reveal who our big loser is and has to face the stipulation. So the first one, if you've been watching with us, was a good one. We had Jeremy doing his rendition of Scott Steiner's Steiner Math and introducing us to Big Poponomics. I'm going to bring it back every episode, Big Poponomics. Um,
Big Poponomics is accredited a course now at like 20 universities in America.
yeah.
That's crazy.
I hate
And
you.
15 in India. That's awesome.
I hate
eCornell
you.
Online has added Big Poponomics. I've been looking into it.
Jeremy's the teacher.
I'm the dude, bitch.
And he's going to travel worldwide to India, Mexico, and to
I
promote Big
gotta deliver
Poponomics in your
this.
schools.
I gotta
While
deliver
he's
the
delivering,
toy.
Then he's dropping off Stevie Ray's and dropping Big Poponomics.
but that was our
I'm
first stipulation.
multitasking.
That was our first stipulation for Money in the Bag. So Jeremy lost that one. And now this week we'll have Night of Champions. And the stipulation this week, we're going to go maybe a little bigger. It's going to be a longer punishment for sure. Last one was only about a minute long, so you only had to suffer for a minute. This next one, you're going to be suffering for the whole episode. So about an hour, you're probably going to get sweaty, probably a little uncomfortable, sweating like Gangrel because you were going to be wearing a
Ah,
luchador mask for the entire episode. So the loser with the fewest
uh,
correct will have to wear a luchador mask for
uh,
our next for the recording after Night of Champions. After we reveal who lost, that whole next episode, you'll be wearing a mask. So,
Lord, I hope it's Jeremy. I really do.
and
Sorry,
this
Jeremy.
goes out.
But I get passionate about some topics, and just the idea of me getting passionate wearing a luchador mask, it's too ridiculous.
Hey, Charlie.
Uh,
Right
I want to see.
there.
I want to see Jeremy sitting there in a penta mask the whole episode.
Probably rock it. We probably get another 2 million.
I'll even do a luchador move on the bed.
Please, please,
Jeremy's
that's a
El
part of it
Grande
now.
Americana.
So for all our fans in Mexico that love luchador wrestling, Jeremy will probably be dressed as luchador for you and doing
If
some
you have any
backflips.
Rest?
ideas
I thought I
for
only had to
masks you
wear a
want to
mask.
see,
Oh,
throw
you're gonna
some
wear the
comments
mask.
our way.
Now
Yeah,
I
you're
gotta
gonna
wear
do
a
the
singlet?
mask.
Jesus.
No, you don't have to do the whole thing. You'll be just wearing the mask. But, yeah, and like Charlie was kind of saying there, if you have ideas, email us. Give us some ideas what you'd like to see as stipulations. We have a lot lined up, but we don't want to give away the
Sounds
big
like it's
ones yet.
what will Jeremy wear or do?
We'll see. We came close last week, our last pay-per-view.
Yeah,
It
it was tough. It went down to the last match.
Charlie and I were tied with one wrong each. You just happen to have one more, so it's close. Could have gone anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, that'll be our stipulation. Next week we'll reveal who lost after Night of Champions. So stay tuned for that. And now we'll jump to our last little bit here. We have emails. We have an email here. Let's see. So this one's called
Oh, we got
Face
an
of the
email.
Company. So, with a lot of top names getting older and likely retiring in the near future, who do you see as face of the WWE 5 to 10 years from now? And it's from a good friend, Dave.
Or,
It's a
mm,
tough one. 5 to 10 years.
I'll take a
So
minute.
I don't
I'll
know
take a minute
how
on
many
that.
people will be actually gone in 5 to 10 years. I
I
mean,
got one. I got it. Got it. Got it.
I'll let you go
Is
first
it
because I need to
possible they're
think
not
on it.
even there yet?
Dirty
Well,
Dom
look, it has
Mysterio.
to be
Face.
it has to be somebody actively wrestling you pick. You can't just pick Johnny from down the street. It needs to be someone actually wrestling.
Dirty Dom in 10 years will be world champion, numerous times over, and we will still be talking about him. That's my prediction.
I, I could definitely see that
But
one.
you want to listen to the Nostradamus of wrestling,
Yeah,
the guy
there's
that
your guy.
picked Ron Killings 20 years ago, John Cena 20 years ago. Jeremy, who do you got?
I honestly, I actually have to agree with you with Dom, his charisma and everything. It's going to be hard to not ride him when you can't find somebody because he's the one person who stands out to me no matter what's going on. There's some sort of story, chicken nuggets, or a new diva he's with, or woman that's wrestling. And we still want to know.
So you're riding Dirty Dom with the chicken nugget.
Yep, him and his tendies.
You're right in Dirty Dom's chicken tendy.
I fucking hate you.
All right, I'm gonna give my my choice here. I'm gonna go a little different. I think Dirty Dom will be huge in the company. I don't know if he'll be the face because he'll probably be like a heel, so I don't know if he'll be the face of the company. But there's two guys there that are there now. I think could probably be there. I think Braun Breaker is one. He's very Goldberg-esque, so I could see him being face of the company. He's still young. And then I even think Austin Theory still has a big future despite Vince McMahon kind of screwing him up there. I think Austin Theory could still be. I think he's young. He's like 28, so something like that. So he
Yeah.
could still definitely be there. So yeah, Braun or
Braun Breaker,
Austin
good.
Theory.
Braun Breaker's going.
Yeah, one of those two guys.
Braun
I'd say
Breaker's
Jacob
good. But
Fatu, but
I can't see him selling chicken nuggets like Dirty Dom. No, no way.
yeah, you wouldn't want to ride his tendy. You're
Make
gonna
that
see
into a
that
strip
Jeremy
club.
flip this off. Uh, all right. Well, thank you for reaching out to us and emailing us. That was our email for this week. So thank you for that. If you guys want to reach out to us, email us at squaredcirclequestions@gmail.com. Send us questions, suggestions, whatever you guys want to see, want to hear us talk about. We have that there, but that's our show for the week. So thank you for tuning in again. Like and subscribe on YouTube. We're on there. We are on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram. We're kind of getting bigger there. That's our biggest following yet. So follow us there. We're putting clips up every week. So follow us, follow, like, subscribe, whatever you got to do. But thank you for your
Some
support so far.
comments, whatever you want to see.
Yeah.
Or you
If you
want to
want to
see
see
me do, clearly.
if you want to see Jeremy live vlog his trip to India, let us know. That'll be coming soon as he delivers you a gangrel in New Delhi.
Absolutely.
God.
All right. So with that, we'll end it there, guys. Have a good one, and we will see you next week, probably with Jeremy in
See you
a
next
luchador
week,
mask.
everybody.
Later.